my name is Brian Venton from My Town Media with another opinion piece that I've called Getting Rennick Re-elected. In July 2023, The Guardian headlined an article saying Renegade Queensland Senator Gerard Rennick dumped from winnable spot on the LNP ticket. They went on to say Liberal Senator Gerard Rennick failed to secure the third spot on the Liberal National Party's Queensland Senate ticket after a close vote resulted in Stuart Fraser winning the pre-selection battle. A lot, of course, has changed since then. Rennick has now formed his own party called the People First Party and has been on the campaign trail all over Queensland spruiking the merits of what he is trying to do for Queensland and Australia. So where does Rennick sit in the mix of getting re-elected again as a senator for another term from 2025? And that's what this opinion piece is all about. Because the tide appears to be turning against the ALP federally, and the LNP is now in power in Queensland, you would have to think that the LNP is in a strong position in Queensland to pick up 3 Senate spots in 2025. In 2022, you remember, they only managed 2 spots, but picked up 3 in 2019, back when Rennick was first elected. The Greens also appear to be struggling with their messaging, having lost considerable ground in the recent state election. In 2019 and 22, the total Greens Senate vote was 288,320 and 373,460 respectively. Interestingly, the One Nation vote for the same years was 297,994 and 222,925 respectively. Now what this means is that both the Greens and One Nation don't ever get a quota in their own right, and are dependent on preferences from other candidates below or above the line to get to their quota. You may not know, but a quota is decided by a set formula. That is, the total number of formal Senate ballots divided by 6 senators plus 1, that is, the number 7, plus 1 extra elector to round the fraction out to a whole number. So in 2019, the formal number of ballots was just under 3 million, and the quota ended up being 414,495. Then in 2022, the formal ballots were just over 3 million and the quota ended up being 430,553 votes. Now, the other important thing to keep in mind here with our voting system, and most people don't realise this, is that no senator ever gets elected in their own right from votes cast below the line. They just can't harvest enough votes that way. For example, in 2019, Rennick was an unknown quantity and his personal vote was only 1,276 votes. Watters from the Greens, on the other hand, who, like Rennick, is also standing in 2025, had the highest of personal votes of any candidate below the line in 2019 with a total of 31,812 votes. That's a pretty good result. A senator is always chosen from the accumulated votes of a group or party located above the line. In counting, this means that the below-the-line votes get added to the group pool of votes above the line, and that's how the system works. That's why Senator Rennick had to form the People First Party to be positioned above the line in order to maximise his chances to get re-elected. Now, to boost his overall party vote for Queensland, he may well run with another 5 local regional candidates on his ticket below the line to harvest more votes for his pool. Now, that's what all the other parties do in order to accumulate votes from below the line to then add them to the group tally of votes above the line. Now, in my view, and I think it also might be Rennick's view, it would be good to get rid of the party system and preference voting for the Senate and just vote below the line on a first 6 across the line basis, but that's not likely to happen anytime soon. There is just too much vested interest to maintain the status quo. So we obviously have to work within the system that is in place to maximise outcomes, and that's what Rennick is doing with his People First Party. Now, the upside for Rennick, as I see it, is that this time round he has a huge following in Queensland with 250,000 Facebook followers compared to when he was first elected in 2019. Hanson is the only other senator with a bigger following on 500,000. Roberts has around 225,000 and Canavan has 75,000 followers and Watters has about 100,000. Sadly, you rarely ever hear of the other 8 Queensland senators between elections. They just seem to be filling in the numbers for their respective parties and appear to do very little for Queensland in any form of public advocacy. Certainly not that I've noticed. Rennick, in my view, is the most forensic senator in Australia and arguably stands head and shoulders above any other senator for his intellectual smarts. He's across every issue in a way that others can only dream about. He is articulate, knows how to communicate, but most of all, he is quietly humble and gracious in his manner. He is genuinely compassionate and a defender of the weak and the disenfranchised. Philosophically, he is apolitical and more interested in doing what's right for the nation constitutionally rather than what might be expedient in order to maintain a party political narrative. So what are his chances of getting re-elected? My view is that he and the People First Party could easily obtain a quota in their own right and certainly outvote either the Greens or One Nation on primary votes. He would probably need around 400 to 430,000 party votes to guarantee re-election. Because he has garnished a huge following in Queensland, I suspect he could easily wrest the number 3 or 4 position away from the LNP and come in ahead of Watters and Roberts, whom I expect would come in at the number 5 and 6 positions. The ALP or Rennick should get the number 3 or 4 spot, in my view. But it won't happen unless Queenslanders get involved in making it happen. In my view, we have to get Rennick up to around that 400,000 mark for him to have a chance of getting over the line. Now, I'll talk later on how I think we can achieve that objective, but this video is just about laying out a background perspective and what I think are the likely possibilities of Rennick getting elected based on the past 2 election cycles and my observations of his performance over the past 5.5 years. I suggest that he will be around for a lot longer than people think. Tell me in the comments whether you agree with my analysis. Thanks for watching, and remember, the things that appear are not always as they seem. Bye.